All right, what's going on, party people? Thank you for popping in on another episode of Pop Talk. We are the pundits of pugilism. This is your man, Professor Neil. I'm signing on with Boston Jared. Don't forget the S. And Coach Dave. You know about that thump season.
Oh, they don't know about it.
So we want to make sure that you like and subscribe before we jump into this content. But this week we are really going to be focusing our segments around Riyadh season, its invasion of the U.S. soil, and this was proclaimed to be the greatest fight card ever, or at least, it's striving to be the fight card of the year. It was a pretty robust card with plenty of names and stuff, but usually you have to wait till the kind of fights play out to kind of say if it's actually the kind of fight card of the century or best fight card ever. But we do want to give Turkey Al-Sheik's props. And there are other promotional companies that have been working with him, namely Matchroom, because as far as production value, I got to say that they did their thing for this outside event. They had a short Eminem concert. There was virtually no glitches that was a part of this production and everything. And this was just it seemed to be, as our absentee pundit, the casual Rand, said, kind of what the future of boxing is gonna kind of look like. And in comparison to top rank promotions and Golden Boy and Don King, to me, this was clearly a step above. But we are not here to critique the production value of these boxing events. We are here all about the fighters and the fight that takes place inside that ring. So we are going to talk about a couple of upsets, a couple of upsets that happened this weekend. Namely, the first one is your boy Isak Pitbull Cruz, who was a fan favorite and came into this fight with a lot of momentum, and looking to gain some leverage and hoping to negotiate a fight with either Tank Davis or maybe even Shakur Stevenson down the road. As they say, he kind of shot the bed on this one, and he lost, to me, a clear decision against Rayo Venezuela. Was clearly outboxed, and it just, he was always a very kind of flawed fighter, but that was just kind of used his what you might consider physical deficits, and turn those into assets inside the ring. But he was totally exposed and totally outboxed from one of the best performances that I've seen from Venezuela. So, starting with Boston Jared, kind of give us your impression of this fight, and then what are the kind of opportunities that are going to open up for Venezuela?
Like I said before, I was not able to watch the fight, but I will say this: the one take that I will have, and given everything that I heard, the highlights that I saw, um, people said that this looked like a totally different Rayo Valenzuela in there. And what's been lost on a lot of people who I've heard talk about that fight was the fact that this was his first fight with Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia, who is a world class trainer, not just a helicopter dad who learned boxing training from watching YouTube videos and hanging around gyms. Not somebody who learned how to be a trainer through osmosis alone. Robert Garcia was a world class fighter back in his day, and has been a world class trainer for many, many years now. So shout out to him. Shout out to Rayo Valenzuela for making the decision when he did to leave Jose Benavidez Sr. No disrespect to him, but he's a helicopter dad trainer, right? He doesn't have any kind of training pedigree or chops. So yeah, to me, that fight would have played out much differently if Rayo was still with Jose Benavidez Sr. So as far as what comes next, it's tough for me to see Rayo in there in a unification fight at 140 pounds. I just don't see that the risk is worth the reward against some of these other guys. I mean, who's up there? Liam Paro has a belt now that he won from Matias. Um, the guy Puello has a belt, which might be an interesting fight to make because Puello is a PBC guy and Rayo are PBC guys. That's a unification fight that you could make on somebody's undercard, you know. So that is an actually potential fight, and I overlooked that when we initially talked about this. So maybe a unification fight with Puello is next. Teofimo Lopez, I don't see that, although that would be a really entertaining build up to that fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying. Like, why do you not see that?
just because of business of boxing. But look, with the way Riyadh season and Turki Al Sheikh, that fight might not be as far fetched as it would have been 6, 12, 18 months ago. So yeah, Tank Davis is the money guy at from 135 to 140. Uh, it's just hard for me to believe that they wouldn't look to make that fight. Now, if Tank Davis elects to stay at 135, then yeah, I think that you'll see PBC move to make a unification fight between Rayo and either Puello, uh, or maybe even the Rayo versus Teofimo Lopez. I think that's a distant second as far as likelihood, though. I think the Puello
Don't
fight.
Haney still has a belt?
You said what, Dave?
Don't Haney still has a belt?
So Haney is champion in recess, and the guy Sandor Martin, I believe, is getting ready to fight a vacant for Haney's WBC belt. So no, the long answer is no, and the short answer is no. Also, oh, no. So Haney does not have a belt. So we pull up boxing scene right now, and it looks like Sandor Martin is in position, believe it or not, to fight Gary Antoine freaking Russell for that WBC belt, which it's tough for me to see happening. If there's a purse bid for that fight, that becomes very interesting. That becomes interesting. But no, Haney's not an option. It's gonna be it's gonna be almost certain. Yeah, what happened to Alberto Puello? I screwed that up, guys. I thought Alberto Puello beat Gary Antoine Russell to be in position for that WBC belt. What happened to Puello?
It
I
might
see
not
him
be.
ranked. I see him ranked at 9. Okay, so boxing scene presumably has not been updated because I could have swore Puello beat Russell to put himself in a position to fight Sandor Martin for that WBC belt. Or I thought he might have even been elevated. I'm not sure now. So let us know in the comment section. Let us know in the comment section because I thought Puello was in position for that belt.
Well, yeah, and just to kind of keep it to me, I think that Venezuela has really a multitude of options to take at this time. So he is a fighter with a pretty fan-friendly style. I think at least in my opinion, and he's somebody who was kind of I think a bit of fast track. He's had 16 bouts or whatnot, and he was kind of seen a little bit as a prodigy, and he was but he suffered back-to-back losses, right? So he was knocked out by Edwin De Los Santos, and then lost a decision to Chris Colbert, but came back to
Goldberg, that's
knockout.
right. That's right.
Came back to knock out Colbert in that rematch. And then with this upset here, I think there's a lot of cards that he could play at this time. So he's he's a Mexican fighter. He's a young guy. He's only 25 years old. He's actually he's Mexican his heritage, but he's actually a U.S. national. So I think that he's probably not he's gonna stay away from the Edwin De Los Santos rematch at this time, but I think that he could possibly call for and maybe get a fight against Tank if Tank wants to I think Tank will see him as a viable, if not flawed, opponent, at that weight division. And I think he would relish that opportunity maybe a little bit more than taking on somebody like Pitbull Cruz, because one thing we want to say is like Tank doesn't like fighting fighters who are shorter than him. Usually he doesn't have to worry about that, but when he fights when he fights Cruz, that's one of those rare opportunities. And then even with Matias, you have that Mexican versus Puerto Rico of Matias, but I mean, it's hard to kind of give him a title shot after his loss. But you have Pedro and Pedro as opportunities in there. So, Coach, what are your thoughts on his performance against Pitbull Cruz? And then what do you see if you were to put on your promoter hat, what direction would you steer your steed?
So I think he put on the dude just boxed beautifully against Cruz. I think the thing that's going to hurt him as anywhere he tried to defend the title up and down the chart, if at 140 or at 130 or whoever he tried to fight within the top three. My only really critique on this cat was he definitely kept pulling out with his head up, man, and he would pull straight back with his head up and drop his hands. He would escape out the side door sometimes, but man, he kept his chin up a lot. So that's one of the things I wear. But just a masterful thing, man. I mean, and then necessarily I wouldn't say expose Cruz. I think it just put the exclamation point and solidified and confirmed or validated or whatever that Pitbull Cruz, as exciting as he can be, dude, he's they call it boxing for a reason. That's the best way I know what to say, bro. Mm-hmm. They call it boxing for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought it was great, man. But in terms of, I mean, if I was my promoter hat on, and if I was Venezuela, I mean, you already so you beat Cruz, right? Got his title yet, the 140. Do whatever it is that you can do to me to start trying to unify and call out other champions. I just run for the border. Run for the border. Do whatever it is that you can do to get some of these other top names if possible. And kind of like what Boston said, I'm trying to tell you, you it's getting to a point to where, hey man, the promotional stuff is getting ready to not even be relevant anymore, man. These Saudis it's getting ready to not even be relevant anymore. These people are going to go where that Saudi money is going to take them. So if you need a good tune-up fight or whatever, that might say, okay, yeah, he is ready for somebody with the title. Get anybody within the top three, man. Just go straight across. I don't care who it is. Jack Catterall, get the winner of if I think boss, you said Sando Martin about to fight Russell. Get one of them cats who just stay within the top three. But if you can weasel out your next fight as another champion within the 140, do it. That's it.
Real quick, just to bring some fidelity to what we were talking about earlier. So Puello was elevated from interim to full titleist after the Gary Russell fight. The WBC then, according to Ring TV magazine on June 24th, WBC ordered Sandor Martin versus Alberto Puello. So that's that fight. Puello does not look like a viable option at this point. It looks like for unification, it would have to be Teofimo Lopez, Liam or Liam Parr would be his only options for unification.
So then I would get it. And look, if those guys are in the other contracts to fight somebody else, man, get anybody within the top 3. I don't care. I don't know if he's fought Barboza. I don't know if he's fought Catterall.
That might be a good fight.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying that. So if he go within the top 3, and he win, bro, that's just gonna boost him up. But so try to unify with whoever you can. If not, get somebody in the top 3 or either top 2 across the board. I don't care who he is. Just don't be fighting no number 8 coming up. Don't even risk it. Just
right.
So that's what I think, bro. And for look, and for your boy Pitbull, man. Hey, listen, man. I almost say the same thing for him in terms of if you're gonna stay in this game and you're gonna try to climb, man, you gotta fight. You gotta fight somebody within the top 3, man. Don't that you gotta try to build it back up because his name was out there. He's done enough to where, people gonna give him another shot, and he's exciting enough to where people gonna give him another shot. That's what I think, man.
See him fighting next. Would it be a good fight for him? You think maybe an Arnold Barboza or a Jose Ramirez? I mean, that's Mexico versus Mexico in California, Vegas somewhere.
Anyone has he fought Prograis?
No. Now Prograis was supposed to fight Jack Catterall. Catterall got injured. That fight is pushed back to October. So Prograis is out of the equation, but you got Gary Antoine Russell over there looking to bounce back.
I thought Russell had a fight scheduled.
Gary Antoine,
right?
You said he's fighting who?
I thought he was trying to do something with Sandor Martin or something, right?
No. I remember I just said that 2 minutes ago that Martin is going to fight Puello.
Oh, okay.
Puello beat Russell. Puello beat Russell. So Russell's coming off of a loss. Isaac Cruz is coming off of a loss. That might not be a bad fight.
That'd be a great fight.
Russell. Who's coming off the loss? You said.
Gary Antoine Russell's coming off a loss to Puello.
Oh yeah, I knew that. I thought you said somebody else. I mean, really, everybody is coming off of a loss in this division because
a lot of people are.
Matias is coming off of a loss. Cruz is coming off of a loss. Gary Antoine Russell is coming off of a loss. I mean, all these people is like, so
and guys like Hitchens is coming off of a mediocre kind of pedestrian performance against Gustavo Lemos. There's some interesting names up here. You got Kenny Sims up here at number 1. That guy Barroso is like the secondary belt holder within the WBA. That might be a fight. You said what, Dave?
Across the board, I mean, to sum it up, anyone in the top 3 among all these big names that just lost, it'll be great in terms of getting back up. It'll be kind of almost like a do or die fight. Whoever you match together with across the board, all the jokers that's lost, just let's go. It's a losers bracket. Come back.
Yeah, the Gary Antoine Russell Isaac, that's a fun fight. I mean, that is that's a fun fight. That's a fun fight. That is a real fun fight.
I'd be pulling for Russell, but he has a high probability of getting clipped.
You think you would favor Isaac Cruz in that fight?
No. I'm pulling in favor for Russell, but I'm saying he has a high probability of getting clipped by.
Okay. All right.
Bro, it would be a good fight, man.
Yeah, it would be a good fight. It would be a good fight.
Right. So I think we'll go ahead and end up this segment here, but 140, there's obviously a lot of opportunities here. One is that you know, the best fighters are fighting each other. And then when you get that, you get some of these top fighters who do take a loss, which is okay. We need to be okay with fighters taking losses. It's not the end of the world for them. It's opportunity. Usually learning, I mean, losses are learning experiences, and we need to understand that in boxing. So even though you know, Rayo Venezuela has a couple of losses, he was able to come back and secure him a world title. And then Isak Cruz is going to be right there. He's got a fan-friendly style. He's not somebody that kind of shies away from a fight. So he'll be back. And then hopefully we can see this kind of mix up and bring a little bit of more excitement to the 140 division, which is kind of being outshined at the moment by 135.
Another guy with a helicopter dad. Another guy with a not to beat this dead horse. Isaac Pitbull Cruz, another guy with a helicopter dad trainer. I don't know much about him. I don't know what his training chops are, but you know, he's got a pretty limited style, man. It might be time for him to look to add somebody to his camp or go someplace where he can make the most out of his physical limitations, because that poor man's Joe Frazier shit he be doing, that poor man's Kenny Norton kind of that shit ain't going.
Yeah. I mean, it can be effective, but he was just technically it was a subpar performance. Like he act like they never even trained on cutting off the ring. And kind of like banging to the body and keeping them, you know, there, and then even using a little physicality, you know, as a part of your boxing technique. I thought it was too easy for Rayo Venezuela to, you know, escape out of corners, and you knew which direction he was going every time. And then there's so like use a little kind of feints and, you know, different kind of like subtle movements to kind of get the fighter in the position that you want. And so, yeah, so he would benefit from somebody in this corner, like a skill tactician. All right. All right, so we're going to wrap up this segment. Make sure that you do like and subscribe, but we'll be popping right back in for some more scintillating content.
Peace.
Like and subscribe.